It will be remiss of me if I don't ask you economic issues because you are a technocrat.
Yes, sir.
That's your forte. Governor Peter Mbah of Enugu State just yesterday said President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's policies have turned around the economy, massively. So much money is going to the subnational entities, and by so doing, the economy is on the upward swing. We need to do this sharp, quick fire. What's your quick response to that?
You see, I don't want to. I love what Governor Mbah is doing. He's one of our shining examples. Him and OT, I'm most proud of in the Southeast. And I don't know the circumstance of what he has said. I have learned something in this politics. I don't jump into, because I know how people do not even care about my own circumstance and started blaming me for joining APC. They haven't spoken to me. They thought I was one who betrayed. They thought I was one who absconded. They have no idea what I went through, how I wanted to stop what was happening to stop. So in this case, I'm not holding brief, but Governor Mbah may have said it based on his own paradigm. I feel that Nigeria is not where it ought to be. There are some bold moves Mr. President has taken, yes. Even the tax law, even though, again, the idea of what actually was passed in the National Assembly, what was signed, I don't like that kind of argument. However, it's a bold move to see that we plug leakages, if it's well intended. But there's also a bigger question. When we have more revenue, how are we applying it? And that's where we need to urge Nigerians to get up and hold their leadership accountable. This idea of fear, my business will suffer, this will suffer. You're already suffering anyway. Let's hold the subnational and the federal accountable for whatever kobo that comes into the purse. And that's what I would say. There are certain bold moves I feel the president has taken that may percolate over time. But for now, I know Nigerians are still hemorrhaging. And particularly, I like to see the real solution in the real sector, agriculture. I like to see security improve. Let people go back to farm. Let farmers be protected. I also hear a lot of imports of food that's now dwarfing and complicating issue. On one hand, you're achieving depreciation coming down. However, we also need to protect the farmers themselves. So in these areas, I feel we can do better.
Last one on the economy. The president said they have done a lot of reforms, merging the exchange rates, removing fuel subsidy, all of that, increasing the electricity tariff. The biggest one actually is the tax reform, which is going to take, the major part of it is going to kickstart maybe next year after election. So said Mr. Rotimi Amechi. Some major argument against it is that why not create jobs? Get people gainfully employed, get them productive, get the manufacturing sector up and about and all of that, create MSME, clusters and all of that. Before you now begin to talk about taxation, what's your quick response? Less than a minute.
You can combine the two. Okay. The idea of this or this is not, the truth of the matter is not government that creates jobs. It's the private sector that creates jobs. And what they've actually done, if you study what they've done in tax law, there are actually some kick-ins there that might even favor people at the bottom of the pyramid, because many things have not been waived, from VAT, the accommodation, and all of that. So when I listened to Taiwo break this down, because I had to engage him, and I was convinced that there's some rigor that went through the thoughts. So I feel that if we solve these overarching macro issues of insecurity, trust me, the private sector will begin to do better, and this tax law won't be an impediment. We can have both actions taking place. Let government do more. Let them nudge the private sector. Let's also stop leakage, but let's also utilize the resources judiciously. That's even where my biggest concern is. The fact that there's still leakages even at the top, and at the subnational, there are still leakages. So when more money goes to, you see all the states now going to airline business. Some you hear where a plane that's sold for $5 million is in the book of the state at $15 million. So when you see things like that, you need to question. Leadership must be held accountable, and citizens should stop this fear mongering.
How do you describe the obedience movement today?
I even want to say to people that when things are not going well, in their opinion, maybe it is time to be disobedient and not necessarily being violent and chaotic, but challenging the status quo. I feel that obedience served a very important purpose in 2023 to show that Nigerians of all parts of Nigeria can actually come together to chart a common cause. And it wasn't just the youths, even the elders. I've never seen where all the ethnic nationalities came together to back one purpose, from the Afenifere to Ohanese to Pandef to Middle Belt, even some of the northern elders. And it gave me a lot of hope. Now, going forward, what I think is important is to move away from personality politics. So it's not about P2B or Tinubu or Atiku to ideology. Let's fight the battle of redeeming Nigeria. So if you ask me, I would tell them to channel their energy towards restructuring. We can build a synergy, a strategy, a blueprint, and tell the world this is what Nigeria should look like, and push this through. So if we now decide to make noise about it, we are making noise about this because that's where our future depends on. Now that I've also seen that sometimes you may think that somebody is the Messiah, only to discover that it's far from being anything close to being Messiah. We've seen some of us were celebrated when Obama became president. Some of us are questioning, did he even serve us right? Why did we even celebrate in the first instance? So there are many cases like that. There are some people who almost thought that with Buhari as president, oh, everything is solved in Nigeria. But even though some of us won, and now they are the ones saying it's the worst president Nigeria has ever had. So why did we jump into such conclusions? Personality politics hasn't helped us. No part of Nigeria is happy. And therefore, go back to the reason. And so I have to end whatever I'm telling you, back to restructuring, because we need to now ask ourselves, why has it taken us this long? It is honestly sheer stupidity.
In your opinion, and be honest, Mr. Val, can President Tinubu win a free, fair, credible election that is transparently conducted? Can he win on the evidence, on sheer weight of evidence of 3 or 4 years in office?
Actually, he can. Not because of what he has even done, but because of what some people are hoping he could still do when he gets back. And when people win, it's not only because people love them to win, because people reject the alternative. I wish if Mr. P2B was exactly what he was in 2023, if Atiku and if Rotimi, if all of them could have done better, invested more, been proactive, supported the elections in Imo State, in Edo State, in Bayelsa, in different places, built up, maybe there wouldn't even be need for coalition. Maybe the obedience would have been stronger, labor would have been strong. All of these are missed opportunities, which have considerably weakened the opposition, such that some of us have written off a possibility of any other person winning. Not because Tinubu is well-liked and doing amazingly well. No, because the alternative doesn't even exist. And therefore, some of us, okay, why don't we now even help this man to achieve more? Let's him try and do more. So for me, I'm on a singular agenda. If we have a good understanding that's going to restructure Nigeria in the manner that we envisage, I will be his champion. At least he will win my polling unit. So that is what I can assure you.
2 short questions that I hope you do it in 2 minutes. Number 1, should in case Peter Obi gets the ticket of the ADC, scenario. They were just building scenario. So he gets the ticket. So he squares off against President Tinubu. Of course, there are other parties, SDP, Adebayo Adewale, Omoyele Sowore definitely will be a candidate, and a few others. Is there any pathway for any of these opposition candidates?
I don't see.
No pathway.
I don't see.
So it's more or less slam dunk for President Tinubu.
I think so. It's only God that has the final say. But as far as I can see, I don't see.
You have a large youth following. What's your message to the youth, not just Southeast, the youth of Nigeria, who have lost hope, totally disillusioned about the future of this country? What's your message to them?
I have articulated this in my Valiant movement. What is Valiant? Moral courage. Let us be morally courageous. To be able to say, no, enough is enough. To be able to challenge the status quo and do that responsibly. Let us stop hoping that somebody else has our destiny in their hand. Our destiny is in our hand. How we make our bed, so we're going to live on it. Let us actually understand that we can decide to come together and forge our future. And we can do that in almost every aspect, particularly instrumentality of political leadership. So that when we see a need to champion a cause, we champion that cause courageously. And for now, let's focus more on how we restructure, reset Nigeria, because that is where it all went wrong ab initio. And you can't be chasing shadows and symptoms and forgetting the root cause. And when we do this, a lot of things will fall into place. And by the way, let's also be the model we're hoping for. Most time people sit on the side and criticize. But who are you? How are you living your life? Live a life of morality. Even if you are suffering today, commit that suffering prayerfully and know you're doing it for your future. Our life is that wide, that long. But life on earth is this tiny. Don't concentrate on this tiny and lose the rest. If you do this well and right, and when you understand this, the only thing you will fear is God. You fear no death. You fear no joblessness. You fear no whatever. And with that mandate, you become a tool that God can use. Because today, I feel we're also in a kairos moment. Providentially, there's something God wants to do in Nigeria. But for him to do that, he needs circles of Samuels and Davids. People who have purified their heart and done what is right. So be one of those. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.